Apple, which started as a little company, which is now first in history to have the most expensive headquarters on the planet, and also one of the top 5 most expensive structures on Earth.
And as Rome wasn't built in a day, it actually took them almost 50 years to get to where they are today. But before Apple became what we know it as today, it was something a bit different. So as we explore these controversies and mind-blowing features of the futuristic campus, that the co-founder Steve Jobs called his best product yet before his passing.
Death of a man who literally changed the way we live our lives every day. Steve Jobs, the visionary founder and leader of Apple Computer, has died at the age of 56.
Let's start with a little bit of history here.
In 2011, just months before his passing, Steve Jobs presented his plans for the Apple Park to the Cupertino City Planning Council. This wasn't just another office, it was Jobs' final masterpiece that had been in its planning stage for almost 10 years.
Apple's grown like a weed, and as you know, we've always been in Cupertino. Started in a little office park and eventually got the buildings we are in now at the corner of Deanza and 280.
The previous so-called Apple campus was no longer big enough for the growing company. The building, constructed in 1993, are arranged along a circular private road called the Infinite Loop, named after a programming term for a code that will run endlessly by itself. In order to cope with the growing number of employees, the company started acquiring more and more buildings in the area, and eventually Apple was operating out of a chaotic mix of buildings that were originally developed separately from each other.
So we're renting buildings, not very good buildings either, at an ever greater radius from our campus, and we're putting people in those. And it's clear that we need to build a new campus.
The plan was not to abandon the existing campus at Infinite Loop, but to expand with a larger and modern one.
His vision, a single ring-shaped building housing 12,000 employees surrounded by a vast parkland. It was ambitious, it was expensive, and it was pure Apple. So turning Jobs' dream into reality was no small feat. Apple hired legendary architect Norman Foster, known for his modernist design. Foster worked closely with Jobs and Apple design guru John Ivey to create a space that embodies Apple values. Then, construction began in 2013 and took 4 years to complete, the final price tag going over its actual budget, $2 billion, to a whopping $5 billion. That it became so popular that even Captain America added it to his bucket list.
I'll put it on the list.
So it is one of the most expensive buildings in the world. To put that to context, the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, cost $1.5 billion to build. The centerpiece of Apple Park is obviously the massive ring-shaped main building, nicknamed the spaceship. And it's easy to see why though. It is not overwhelmingly large at any individual point within each segment. Walkways leads around the building along the outer and inner rim. Those walkways are separated from the outside only by a continuous wall made of glass that stretched from the floor to the ceiling, allowing a panoramic view of the surrounding. Apple claims that these are the largest curved glass panels used in any building to date. Every aspect of the building were custom made, and sticking out from the facade are white canopy positioned to cast shade at the interior hallway. In addition, these elements are also part of the building active ventilation system, bringing in fresh air from outside. So the use of air conditioning is only needed for just 3 months of the year. To achieve this, the engineering team used aerodynamic tech found in race cars, and 70% of the entire building is powered by one of the largest on-site solar farms in the world. Fun fact, the building is so huge that it's visible from space. The workspace was designed to foster collaboration. In fact, Apple Park was designed to be as open as possible in order to encourage the free flow of ideas between employees. That's why the office space are formed into pods, or open office space, where a worker could be in deep concentration and 1 minute they bump into a colleague the next. But everyone wasn't happy about this approach, with many employees complaining about the glass walls, which were easy to run into when distracted. 2 workers actually got injured after walking into the building translucent wall. Another way the ring encouraged employee interaction is with one big restaurant instead of several small ones located throughout the building. That means employees have to walk further to reach the cafe and increase the likelihood of interaction while eating, since everyone is forced into the same 58,000 square foot eating area, and features 4-story sliding glass doors, the largest in the world, that open to the courtyard on nice days. And to prove just how much Apple cares about every detail,
About 20% of the space is landscaping. Most of it is a big asphalt parking lot, several big asphalt parking lots. So 20% of it is landscape. We want to completely change this, and we want to make 80% of it landscape.
accessible through this tunnel is the underground parking garage, which was custom designed with the same level of detail as the main building. But because the underground space were not quite enough, they also added 2 buildings for parking. And located at the top left corner is the Apple Park Fitness Centers for employees.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
It is called
Hold on. Let me land.
The stage is for announcement and performance, and for the color they were gotten from early Apple logos when colored screens were invented, so they tried referencing it by integrating it into the landscape.
Speaking of which, the landscaping at Apple Park is one of the most important features, with the planting of over 9,000 trees, handpicked not only for their appearing structure but also for their resistance to drought. The courtyard area consists mainly of apricots, olive, the herb garden, and you guessed it, apple trees. And they added an artificial pond to the garden ecosystem that regulates the building temperature. But you might be wondering how this glass building is still standing, as California is one of the most earthquake-prone zones on Earth. So to withstand this constant shift in the ground, the building is placed on a huge steel-based isolator. Basically, this makes the building move about 4.5 feet in any direction without losing its vital services. Another architectural marvel is the Steve Jobs Theater. This 1,000-seat auditorium sits underground, topped by a stunning glass pavilion. The pavilion roof is made of carbon fiber, the same carbon fiber used in supercars, but just bigger. And it is the largest freestanding structure supported entirely by glass. Inside you find a glass elevator that rotates at its descent. It's this kind of over-the-top engineering that will make Job proud. Apple Park isn't just about buildings, it's about connecting with nature. So Apple Park sets a new standard for eco-friendly design. 100% powered by renewable energy, natural ventilation for 9 months of the year, one of the world's largest rooftop solar panels, recycled water system, not a fan of that though,
It's not just an office, it's a statement to Apple's commitment to the environment.
Apple Park is more than just an headquarter. It's a physical embodiment of Apple. It pushes boundaries, prioritizing design, and aims to inspire. While it's not without its controversies, there's no denying its impact on corporate architecture.
I think we do have a shot of building the best office building in the world. And I really do think architecture students will come here to see this. I think it could be that good.
Whether they succeeded is up for debate, so tell us what you think about this HQ. But one thing is for sure, they've certainly created one of the most fascinating structures on the planet.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.